Welcome to my channel. I'm your friend, and here we don't just listen to stories. We feel them. If you love mystery, thrillers, and emotional journeys, then you're in the right place. So let's begin today's story, The Floor That Doesn't Exist. It was almost midnight when Ava Carter stepped into the lobby of the Lexington Heights apartment building. The place felt wrong, not broken, not abandoned, just uncomfortable. The kind of silence that feels like it's watching you. Ava adjusted the strap of her backpack and walked toward the elevator. The overhead lights flickered softly, buzzing like they were struggling to stay alive. She checked the address again on her phone. Lexington Heights, Manhattan. Apartment 12B. Her new home? Great, she whispered. Old building. Cheap rent. What could go wrong? The elevator doors opened with a slow metallic groan. Inside, the walls were lined with dull mirrors, scratched, and fogged like they hadn't been cleaned in years. Her own reflection stared back at her, pale and uncertain. She pressed 12. The door slid shut. The elevator began to rise. 1, 2, 3. The numbers above the door glowed softly. Everything seemed normal at first. Then between 12 and 14, there was a blank space. No train. Ava frowned. That's weird, she murmured. Most buildings skipped 13 out of superstition. But something about the empty space unsettled her. The elevator jolted slightly as it reached her floor. The doors opened. Hallway lights flickered dimly. The carpet was dark red, stained in some places like old wine or something worse. Ava stepped out and began walking toward apartment 12B. As she passed the elevator again, she noticed something that made her stop. The panel inside the elevator was still lit, and below the 12 button, a faint, cracked label glowed in red. C-13. She stared at it. That floor wasn't there a moment ago. She leaned in closer. The button looked older than the rest, as if it had been hidden for years and suddenly revealed itself. Ava reached out, then hesitated. Probably just a wiring glitch, she told herself. She turned away and headed toward her apartment. But that night, as she tried to sleep, the same thought kept circling in her head. If floor 13 doesn't exist, then why does the elevator still want to go there? The next morning, Ava asked the building's janitor about it. He was an old man with tired eyes and a face that looked like it had seen too much. "Excuse me," Ava said. "Is there a 13th floor here?" The man stopped sweeping. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then he replied quietly, "No one's supposed to ask about that floor." Ava felt a chill crawl up her spine. "What happens if someone presses it?" she asked. The janitor looked up slowly. His voice dropped to a whisper. "They don't come back." Ava turned to look at the elevator behind him, and for just 1 second, she thought she saw the C-13 button blink back at her, as if it was waiting for her. The call from below. Ava didn't press the button. Not that day. But the elevator didn't forget her. That night, while the city outside her window hummed with distant traffic and sirens, Ava lay awake in her new apartment staring at the ceiling. Sleep refused to come. Something about the building felt heavier after what the janitor had said, like the walls themselves were hiding a secret. A faint ding echoed through the hallway. The elevator. She glanced at the time. 12:47 a.m. No one should be coming or going at this hour. Curiosity pulled her out of bed. She opened her apartment door and stepped into the dim corridor. At the far end, the elevator doors were open. Waiting. The inside lights flickered softly, painting long shadows on the walls. Ava slowly walked toward it. As she reached the elevator, she saw something new. The panel had changed again. This time, the C-13 button wasn't glowing red. It was glowing white. Soft, calm, inviting. Ava swallowed. "Just look," she whispered. "Don't touch." But as she leaned closer, the elevator suddenly began to move downward on its own. The door slammed shut. Ava jumped back. What the hell? The numbers above the door started dropping. 12, 11, 10, 9. The elevator wasn't going to the lobby. It was going somewhere below. Then the numbers vanished. And in their place, the display showed only one thing. C-13. Ava felt her breath stop. Moments later, her phone vibrated. Unknown caller. She stared at it, hesitating, then answered. "Hello?" At first, there was only static. Then a soft voice whispered from the other side. A little girl's voice. "Are you the new one?" Ava froze. "Who is this?" "You live above us now," the girl replied. "Above what?" "The floor they forgot to build," the voice said quietly. Ava's hand trembled around the phone. "Listen, I think you've got the wrong number." The static suddenly turned sharper. Then the girl whispered one last thing. "Don't let it take you too." The call ended. Silence. Ava slowly looked back at the elevator doors. They were still closed. But now, faint handprints appeared on the inside of the metal, as if someone had tried to claw their way out. and below them, slowly fading like mist, the number 13 appeared, written in something dark and wet. Ava stepped backward. Her heart was racing. This wasn't just superstition. This was something else. Something that didn't want to stay buried. That night, she made one decision. She was going to find out the truth about C-13, even if it meant going there herself. The floor that watches. Ava didn't tell anyone about the call. Not the landlord. Not the neighbors. Not even herself. She tried to act normal the next morning. Coffee, shower, phone scrolling. But the moment she stepped out of her apartment, the hallway felt different. Quieter. Thicker. As if the building had gone still. Just for her. She walked toward the elevator again. The doors were closed. No lights inside. No sound. But the C-13 button was already glowing. Waiting. Ava stared at it. "Not today," she whispered, and turned away. Behind her, the elevator made a soft click, like it was disappointed. By afternoon, she started noticing strange things. Her mirrors weren't reflecting her properly. For a split second, her reflection would be standing still, even when she moved. At the grocery store downstairs, she saw a woman staring at her from behind a pillar. The woman's eyes were hollow, almost empty. When Ava looked again, the woman was gone. But in the reflection of the freezer glass, Ava saw her standing right behind her, smiling. Ava spun around. Nothing. Just the hum of the store lights. That evening, she went to the building's old basement storage. If there was a hidden floor, maybe there was a hidden record. She found a dusty cabinet labeled Building Archives. Inside were old blueprints. She flipped through them slowly. Every floor was there. Lobby, parking, maintenance. But something was odd. Between the 12th floor and the roof, there was a blank space. Just empty paper. No numbers. No labels. As if the architect had stopped drawing and then started again, and written at the edge of that blank space in faint handwriting. Restricted level, do not map. Ava's chest tightened. This place was built wrong, she whispered. Suddenly, the lights in the basement flickered. A faint hum echoed through the pipes. Then, from above her head, the sound of slow footsteps, walking, right above the ceiling. But there was no floor above the basement. Ava held her breath. The footsteps stopped. Then a soft knock came from the other side of the wall. 3 slow taps. Knock, knock, knock. Ava stepped back. Her phone buzzed again. Unknown caller. She answered. Who is this? The same girl's voice. Why are you looking for us? Ava whispered, because you called me. No, the girl replied softly. You found us first. A pause. Then, it sees you now. Who sees me? Ava asked. The voice went cold. The floor. The lights suddenly went out. Darkness swallowed the basement. Ava couldn't see anything, but she felt it. Someone was standing behind her. Close. Breathing. She turned around slowly. Nothing there. Only darkness. Then her phone screen lit up and reflected something over her shoulder. A shape. Tall. Faceless. Standing just inches away, and its chest had one word scratched into it. C-13. Ava screamed. The light snapped back on. The shape was gone. Only the silence remained. She realized something terrifying. C-13 wasn't just a floor. It was watching her and waiting for her to come down. The first person who came back. Ava didn't sleep that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw that faceless shape standing behind her, breathing, watching. By sunrise, her phone battery was dead. Her nerves were gone, and one thought stayed in her mind. If the floor was watching, then it wanted her to go there. But why her? What did she have that others didn't? She left her apartment and headed toward the elevator again. The hallway lights buzzed softly, and for the first time she noticed the walls had faint scratch marks, like someone had tried to claw their way out. Ava swallowed. The elevator doors opened on their own. Inside, the air was colder than before, metallic, and the glowing button remained. C-13. Ava stepped inside. The doors closed slowly behind her. Her heart pounded. She pressed the lobby button. Nothing happened. The elevator didn't move. Instead, the display flickered. It read, access denied. Then underneath it, please select a valid floor. Ava whispered, there is no C-13. The light above the button flickered again, as if it was smiling. Suddenly, the elevator began to move. Not up, down, deeper than any basement should go. The numbers on the panel kept changing. B2, B3, B4. But the building only had one basement. Then the display stopped at a blank space. No number, no symbol, just darkness. And then it changed to C-13. The elevator doors opened. The floor outside was pitch black. No lights, no hallway, just endless shadow. Ava hesitated, then stepped out. Behind her, the elevator doors slammed shut, leaving her alone. A cold wind passed through the darkness. Then she heard a faint voice. Hello? A man stepped out from the shadows, middle-aged, beard, eyes full of exhaustion. I knew someone else would come, he said quietly. Ava stepped back. Who are you? My name is Daniel Harris, he replied. I lived here 10 years ago. Ava's voice trembled. But this floor doesn't exist. Daniel gave a sad smile. That's what we all thought. He pointed behind him. In the darkness, Ava noticed faint shapes. Doors, hundreds of them, floating in nothing, each one labeled with a name and a date. Daniel continued, C-13 is not a floor of this building. It's a place where the building sends the people. It wants to erase. Ava whispered, erase? Daniel nodded. Disappear, forget, replace. Once you come here, you never leave. Ava's breath shook. Then how did you come back? Daniel looked at the darkness around them. I didn't. You're not talking to me. You're talking to what's left of me. Ava's hands went cold. What does that mean? Daniel's eyes softened. I tried to expose this place. I told the police, the media, everyone. And one night I was dragged here. By the elevator. They took my memory, my identity, everything. Now I only exist here as a warning. Suddenly a low whisper echoed through the darkness. 1,000 voices speaking at once. She belongs here. Ava looked around. The doors behind Daniel began to open, one by one. And from inside them, people walked out. Normal people. Families. Children. Old women. All staring at Ava. Their eyes empty. Their faces lifeless. They all whispered together. Stay. Ava backed away. No, I'm not staying here. Daniel grabbed her wrist. You have to go, now, before it decides you're one of us. Ava shouted, how do I leave? Daniel pointed toward the darkness. The elevator returns for you only once, when it feels you're truly afraid. But if you hesitate, you'll never find it again. The whispering voices grew louder. Stay. You're part of the building now. You were always meant for C-13. Ava ran. Through the darkness, searching for the elevator. Her breathing was heavy. Her legs trembled. Then she saw it. A faint red light glowing ahead. The elevator. Doors open. Waiting. As she stepped inside, the whisper stopped. The doors closed, and the elevator began rising again. The display changed back to normal numbers. Finally stopping at the 12th floor, Ava stepped out, shaking. Behind her, the elevator display flickered once more. For a split second, it showed 1 return allowed, then went blank. Ava realized something terrifying. She wasn't safe. She was just spared. For now, because the building never forgets the ones who escape. It just waits for the right moment to call them back. The building remembers. Ava stayed locked inside her apartment the entire day. Curtains closed. Lights off. Phone on silent. Every small sound from the hallway felt like someone trying to reach her. Not knock. Just wait. She kept replaying Daniel's words in her mind. The building never forgets the ones who escape. And somehow she could feel it. Like the walls were breathing? By evening, her phone vibrated. A text from an unknown number. You left too early. Ava froze. Another message appeared. You didn't see what was behind your door. Her hands began to shake. Behind her door? She slowly walked toward it. The hallway outside was silent. Too silent. Ava pressed her ear to the door. Nothing. Then she heard a faint, slow scratching sound from the other side. Like nails against wood. She stepped back. Who's there? She whispered. The scratching stopped. For a moment there was complete silence. Then a distorted voice replied, You already met me. Ava's heart sank. Daniel? No. This voice was colder, almost mechanical. Her phone vibrated again. A new message. Check your apartment number in the registry. Ava opened the building's online tenant directory. She typed her apartment number, 12B, but the result that appeared was 12C Eva Miller, status transferred. Transferred? Where? Ava scrolled further. Destination? C-13. Her throat went dry. No, I'm still here. She checked the hallway peephole. The corridor looked normal. But when she blinked, the floor number on the wall had changed. From 12 to 13. Ava stumbled back. This isn't possible. Suddenly, her lights flickered, and the room temperature dropped sharply. A faint shadow moved behind her on the wall. Not her shadow. Someone else's? Ava slowly turned. Standing in the corner of the room was the same black-hooded figure she had seen on C-13. Silent. Still. Watching. Ava whispered, You followed me back. The figure didn't move. but a low whisper echoed through the apartment. You were never meant to leave. Her chest tightened. She realized C-13 wasn't just a place. It was connected to her, watching her, tracking her, trying to pull her back. Ava grabbed her keys and rushed out into the hallway. She didn't want to stay alone with that thing. The elevator was at the end of the corridor. Its doors were already open, waiting. Inside, the display glowed again. C-13. Ava's breath trembled. Why me? She whispered. And then from behind her, the shadow stepped closer. Its presence felt heavier. Closer. And the elevator voice spoke softly. Because you remember. Ava froze. Remember what? The elevator replied, the fire. The truth. The one who survived. A memory flashed in Ava's mind. A burning house. A child standing in the smoke. A voice shouting her name. Then darkness. She gasped. That was me. She wasn't just living in this building. She had been connected to C-13 since childhood, and whatever happened there years ago had never truly ended. The shadow behind her moved again. Closer. Ava stepped toward the elevator. The door began to close slowly, and the last thing she heard was, Come back, Ava. Your story isn't finished yet. The floor that shouldn't exist. The elevator door shut behind Ava. For a second, there was only darkness. No light. No sound. Just the feeling of falling, even though the elevator wasn't moving. Then the lights flickered on. But the control panel looked different. All the floor buttons were gone. Only one remained. C-13. Ava swallowed. She didn't press it. Yet the elevator began to descend. Slow. Heavy. Like it was going underground. The air turned colder with every passing second. Ava's breath became visible. And then she noticed something strange. The mirror inside the elevator didn't show her reflection. Instead, it showed a younger version of her, maybe 8 years old, standing there, staring back with fear. Who are you? Ava whispered. The child replied softly, I'm the one you left behind. Ava's heartbeat raced. No, that's not real. The child's voice cracked. You ran when the fire started. I didn't. Ava stepped back, shaking her head. That can't be true. I was saved. The child leaned closer in the reflection. Were you? Suddenly, the elevator stopped. A loud metallic clang echoed. The display read, Arrived C-13. The door slid open, but what Ava saw wasn't a normal floor. It looked like the remains of an abandoned hospital hallway. Cracked walls, flickering lights, doors with faded numbers, and the smell, burnt wood and cold metal. The same smell from her childhood memory. Ava slowly stepped out. Each step echoed unnaturally loud. Behind her, the elevator doors closed again, sealing her in. She turned. The elevator was gone. There was only a blank wall. No way back. A sign hung crooked on the wall. C-13 Recovery Unit. Recovery? For what? Ava moved forward. As she passed the first door, she heard whispers inside. Different voices. Crying. Screaming. And one name repeated again and again. Ava, Ava, Ava. Her chest tightened. They're calling me. She pushed open one of the doors. Inside was a small, dim room. At the center stood an old metal bed. And on that bed, a charred diary, her name written on the cover. Ava reached out and opened it. Inside were entries written in shaky handwriting. Her handwriting. Day 1. They brought me here after the fire. Ava's hands trembled. I never wrote this. She flipped to the last page. If I ever leave this floor, C-13 will come looking for me. Ava stepped back, breath shaking. So, this place remembers everyone who was here. And she had been here before. As a child. But why? Suddenly, a loud thump echoed down the hallway. Then another. Slow footsteps approaching. Heavy. Dragging. Ava's pulse quickened. Someone or something was coming. She stepped back into the corridor. At the end of the hallway, a tall, dark silhouette appeared, slowly walking toward her. No face. Just darkness where a face should be. Ava whispered, Who are you? The figure stopped and replied in a hollow voice, The one who never left. The lights flickered, and the hallway began to distort around her. Like reality itself was breaking, Ava realized she wasn't just trapped on C-13. She was trapped in her own forgotten past. And the only way out was through the truth. The truth waiting in the dark. The figure kept walking toward Ava. Slow, silent, unavoidable. Each step echoed like a heartbeat inside the empty hallway. Ava wanted to run, but her legs refused to move. It felt like the floor itself had trapped her. Why are you here? Ava's voice trembled. The shadow stopped a few feet away and replied calmly, Because you came back. Ava's throat dried. I don't even remember this place. The shadow tilted its head slightly. That's the problem. The hallway lights dimmed, one by one, until only a single red emergency bulb remained glowing behind Ava. It felt like the past was forcing her forward, not backward. A door at the end of the corridor creaked open. Inside, a faint warm light flickered, like candlelight. The shadow raised its arm and pointed. That's where it happened. Ava took a hesitant step. Then another. Her heart was heavy with something she couldn't name yet. Guilt, fear, or both. Inside the room, she saw a small wooden table. On it, a tiny teddy bear. Burnt, half melted. Ava froze. That was her bear. She had held it the night of the fire. A whisper came from behind her. Soft, familiar. You promised you wouldn't leave me. Ava's breath stopped. Mom? The shadow spoke again. You are not the only one in that house, Ava. Her hands began shaking uncontrollably. I know. My mother died in that fire. But I was just a kid. The shadow's voice dropped. No, you survived because someone else didn't. The teddy bear suddenly fell from the table, landing on the floor with a hollow sound. And behind it, etched into the wooden wall, were the words, You chose to leave. Ava stepped back, tears filling her eyes. No, that's not what happened. I was rescued. The shadow moved closer. You ran first. And then a memory returned. The smoke, the heat, the screams, her mother telling her to hide. But Ava had opened the door and fled, alone. Leaving her behind, Ava fell to her knees. I didn't know. I was scared. The shadow replied, Fear doesn't erase the truth. Suddenly, the entire hallway shook. The red lights blinked violently, and the voice echoed again. Ava, stay with me. Ava covered her ears. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The shadow reached out and touched her shoulder. It was freezing cold. If you want Lena's fate not to repeat your mother's, you must face what you did. Ava looked up. Lena? The shadow nodded. She's trapped on this floor too, and the elevator won't open for liars. Ava's heart raced. So this wasn't just about her past. Someone else was still alive here, waiting. The shadow stepped back into the darkness. Find her, before this floor decides she never existed. The light went out, and Ava was alone again. But this time, she wasn't afraid of the dark. She was afraid of the truth. The floor that never forgives. The silence after the shadow vanished felt heavier than the darkness itself. Ava slowly stood up. Her hands were still shaking. Not from fear anymore. From memory. From truth. Somewhere far down the corridor, a soft metallic sound echoed, like an elevator door sliding open. Ava turned toward it. At the very end of the hallway, a single door glowed faintly. Unlike the others, it looked new, clean, unburnt. And on the wall beside it was a small metal plate. C-13 residential unit. Her breath caught. So this floor was real. Ava stepped forward. Every step felt like it was taking her deeper into something she was never meant to find. The closer she got, the warmer the air became. Almost like the heat of an old fire. But not from flames. From something that still remembered them. Inside the room, she saw a small girl sitting on the floor. Back turned. Long dark hair. Wearing a pale dress. And in her hand, the same burnt teddy bear. Ava whispered, Lena? The girl turned. It wasn't Lena. It was her younger self. The same eyes. The same face. The same fear from that night. Ava staggered backward. What is this? The child version of her spoke softly. You left me here. No, I escaped. I survived, Ava whispered. The girl shook her head. Only half of you did. The room around them began to change. The clean walls cracked. Paint peeled. And slowly, the place turned into the exact living room Ava had grown up in. The same burning curtains. The same smoke filling the air. The same moment she ran. You never came back, the child said. You forgot what you did. So the building remembered for you. Ava's eyes widened. C-13 isn't a floor. It's a memory. The girl nodded. And you're still trapped in it. Suddenly, the elevator behind Ava dinged. The doors opened. Inside had only darkness. No buttons. No control panel. Just a reflection of Ava standing there. But this time, her reflection was smiling. Cold, cruel, empty. The reflection stepped forward out of the elevator, now standing face to face with her. You wanted to forget, it said. So I became the part of you that did. Ava realized this wasn't a ghost. This was her own suppressed self. The part that survived by running. The part that chose life over truth. You can't escape again, the dark Ava said calmly. Not until you accept what you did. Ava's voice cracked. I was just a child. The dark Ava replied, and your mother paid for it. Ava fell to the floor, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to leave her. The child, Ava stepped closer, placed the burnt teddy bear in Ava's hands. Then remember her. The dark Ava slowly dissolved into smoke. The burning room faded, and once again, Ava stood alone on the silent floor. But this time, the elevator doors were open. Bright, normal, real. Ava stepped inside. The button panel was back, and where C-13 once was, now it was gone. Only the regular floors remained. The speaker above whispered one last time, "Ravenwood doesn't punish, it reminds." The elevator began descending. Ava closed her eyes. She finally understood. C-13 was never haunted. It was just waiting for her to face herself. And somewhere, very faintly, a mother's voice whispered in peace, "You came back." If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit the like button. Share it, so others can experience this journey too. And yes, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because the next stories are going to be even more thrilling.